Welcome back to the podcast, bros. This is another Infinity episode, man. I'm so excited to be back, everybody. Crazy weekend, everybody, at DLC Richmond, dudes. Okay, that's as much as I got. Okay, that's as much as I got.
Wow,
that's as much as I got. I don't even remember. I don't even remember how that came up, Hayden. What happened where I did that, and you were like, "You have to open the podcast now with different impressions."
I don't remember. You started impersonating Crush for some reason.
I know. I don't remember either. I just know that something came up last weekend at the DLC, and I did a Crush impersonation, and Hayden was like, "Okay, from now on, you have to open each podcast episode with a different impersonation of somebody." And so I had to stick to Crush, obviously, because that's my favorite one. I'm a big Turtle Talk with Crush fan for those Disney World enjoyers. Where I don't know if you don't know, it's like a kids show. But they go in and they like to get to talk to Crush and I like ask questions and stuff. And his answers are always just like hysterical. And so it's really funny to like watch the kids' reaction to it. But anyways, yeah, we're a little late this week because we wanted to record after the DLC. So we had all of our thoughts and everything on the weekend and on the tournament. And boy, are there some stories to tell. I'll say that much. Good, bad, somewhere in between, funny. I think we've probably got the whole gamut of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I guess just a quick recap. We had a green, blue mirror finals. So that was, I saw a couple comments that were like, "Oh man, this was just like peak Lorcana." Not to call out Sailor, but I saw Sailor's comment and 20 Lore, talking about, like how insane of a finals it was and how great it was, like watching everybody go back and forth and doing their crazy plays. And we were all on the couch at the Airbnb watching it, and we were like, "This is a snooze fest," just because it's just like so much jockeying for position, like over and over, as those green blue games go, that by the end of it we were just like, get this over with. But it was an insane finals. Congrats to Fungus for winning. He, very much deserves it. I think everybody that's familiar with him knows that he is an absolute grinder, which we respect a ton, and so he definitely deserves it. Yeah, so it was cool to see somebody new take the mantle of a DLC champ. Really, just crazy overall weekend. But overall, I would say the Infinity run was subpar, to say the least. Which I think has been our MO as of late, aside from our shining star Devin in Milwaukee. But yeah, nobody made day two. Quick recap: nobody made day two. I had a win and we drew on the final round of the day, and so neither one of us is going to get it. And so I conceded and let him have it because he was a little ahead on the board, and so there was no reason for both of us to get knocked out on the last round of the day, when to me it seemed pretty clear. Like I in my hand, I didn't really have anything that was going to like swing the game back in my favor, so I really didn't have any, I guess, like shot to like come back and be like, "Hey, no, like I'm really going to win this game. You should probably give it to me." But anyways, so I was the closest one. I went 5-2-1 or 5-3 as the standings go. And yeah, so, I would say a little underwhelming from all of us, but that's how it goes sometimes, I suppose. Hayden, Mo, Cody, and Brandon and I all took a green-purple list. Maybe I should pull this one up. Are you gonna do a video on it?
I will, but it doesn't mean we can't pull it up. I
don't have it pulled. If I had it pulled up, I'd pull it up. But yeah, just watch out for Mo's video.
Was that Mandy?
No, that was River.
Watch out for Mo's video. He'll pull it up. But I'll give you the quick rundown. They were playing 70 cards lists. I was playing a 67 card list, which seems crazy enough. The even crazier part of this is that we were all on 100% inkable decks. So there was not a single uninkable card in it. And let me tell you, when you have like the game state or the resource state of like, man, I really need to Demona next turn, so I can't play this or I can't ink this because then I'd have to draw an inkable. Well, let me tell you, when you're going to draw an inkable, it like really opens up the opportunity to like just make crazy plays and make, crazy, I would say reckless decisions, because those reckless decisions that are normally quite reckless aren't reckless at all, because you're going to get the inkable and you're going to get it. So, and you end up getting it. But anyways, yeah. So Mo, I mean, you can talk about it for a minute if you want to, Mo, just kind of like the overall thought process on what we brought and why we brought it, and, kind of our like overall thoughts with the matchups.
Yeah, so obviously I've spent a lot of time on the deck this format, and I feel like it had a very good spread into the field. There were no decks just in testing that I felt like held a winning spread over me, including Purple Steel, which was incredible for a deck. The biggest complexity was there's just too many good cards. I think it was it well I don't think I know it was Matt who came up with a 100 card list that was just tearing us up and just incredibly strong, and we're just like, this deck has too many strong points. But we realized with the deck that the ability to just draw two was very impactful for our game plan. It was very impactful to help us move forward into game states and be able to play to our win condition, which is the Prince Philip combo, and then blow out the board. And then we usually have a pretty sticky board ourselves at that point. And when you have a board white followed by purple cards, history proves that that's pretty good. So the 70 cards was an interesting decision in hindsight. I liked the math going into it because we could play maxed out versions of these combos and these draw cards. And it wasn't about having to it was just about running across one. There wasn't any crazy tight mulligan procedures or anything we had to do. It was about playing the game, sticking a character on the board, and drawing cards to find this combo. And if all 70 of those cards were impactful in doing it, we played them. Would I play 70 again in the future? A little burn on it after this weekend. There was a lot of game states that were a little bit tricky to solve without the other half of the combo. I liked the math and the work that went behind going into it. Definitely don't recommend picking this one up off the old Dreamborn and taking it just at champs, though.
Okay, let me just be clear here. I did the math for the team so our initial list was like 63 cards. And we had 3 Malicious Mean and Scaries, 3 Prince Philip shifts, or 9 drops to like board wipe. And we found that we weren't just doing it. And so Mo put 4 of them in there, and he's like, okay, so where can we go and fit 4 in there? And so theoretically, the way that we had it built with 3, if you just build it with 4, you could technically have better odds of finding the combo pieces that you needed and then in half of your deck with 68 and below. And so I said the ceiling on where you could go is 68. And Mo and Cody being the normally 62, 63 card players on a normal 60 card list said, okay, cool, I can go to 70 then. And so that was kind of the meme all weekend long of like, no, the math says you don't do that. I'm giving you permission to go this high. But anyways, there were definitely games that I had as well that I just needed one more of the combo pieces to close out the game. All of my losses / draws were in Blurple games, and I thought going into the weekend that was my strongest matchup. And so it just kind of sucks getting to a position where you do need those pieces and you have too many cards and you can't find what you need. And it wasn't for lack of drawing, because the other spice that we had in there was the 4-cost Inkable Ward Scar in Emerald that says every time you challenge a damaged character, you get to draw a card. And if you ever got 2 scars on board and were challenging damaged characters, it was a very, very dirty game, because there were times where you could scar, sing Malicious Mean and Scary, play Demona, swing, clear the rest of their board, and then draw 4 or 5 cards, and you'd have a massive grip of cards. And so again, the amount of resources that we had was never the issue. It was just kind of trying to maximize the combo potential and get all of the mid game control that you needed. But anyways, yeah, it was fun. And then I'll kick it over to the Blue Steel brothers, as we deemed them now, because Devin and Matt both took Blue Steel Allied Detectives. So yeah, whichever one of you want to kind of go back on your run, you guys can go.
Yeah, it was Matt's idea.
as everything seems to start, it all starts and ends there. I guess it all starts and ends there. Yeah.
Well, originally I don't think I was going to take this list, and then Devin wanted to take.
So it's your fault, Devin.
Yeah, he wanted to take a blue steel to set championships, and I was like, oh, I was testing this blue steel ally detective deck, and it felt pretty good. I think there might be something there. And then I made him a deck, and then I gave it to him. He changed some cards up, and then he ended up getting top four.
Yeah.
And only lost to me in the set change too.
He went undefeated in Swiss with it, and which I think the deck is really strong. And then I didn't really test it, and I was gonna play the 70 card list with Mo and everyone else. But last minute, I just had like a vision of me playing against dogs and that stupid green purple burn deck at the tournament, and I was like, I'm kind of scared of that, because like Hayden said it best, like you kind of sacrifice the early game in that deck to play this very powerful late game sweeper. So I just felt like blue steel is kind of a comfort pick for me, so I pivoted to that last minute, no testing. We played a couple games, and I played 5 purple steels. I went 2-3 with them, and I went 4-3 total. It was a rough day. I thought the purple steel matchup was a little bit better, but we changed a bunch of cards last minute, and yeah, it just didn't go in my favor. But it has a really good dog matchup and that purple green burn deck matchup, and it has a couple like really favored matchups, but it just didn't. My pairings didn't go my way.
How many purple steels in a row did you play? Was it 3 or 4?
I think there was a line of 3 broken up. Okay, so my first I played the mirror match the first. He was on allies. Then I think I went on a run of 3 purple steels, and then I played a green blue, and I beat that deck. And then I think I played 2 purple steels after.
Yeah, I mean that's just crazy the amount of, because I didn't, purple steel was the #1 represented deck, and I didn't play it once, and you ran into all of them, so
couldn't dodge them.
Yeah, Devin, how'd your blue steel feel?
Yeah, no, kind of the same way as Matt. Round 1, I got paired into Lamb right off the bat.
That's a crazy story too. Like, sorry to cut you off. Like I said, there were so many crazy stories of this weekend. I can put, and that was one that like slipped in my mind of one of the crazy stories that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, so just a good old Gold Mickey went around 1.
Yeah, so, and Lamb and I, we've chatted in the past about blue steel. So when I see his name pop up in my pairing, I'm like, oh wow, maybe one of the only people in the room who would suspect me of playing blue steel. So had the pleasure of starting off against him round 1. He was on purple steel. We ended up going 1-2 and had probably the best games of the day for me. I jokingly said that would probably be my toughest opponent throughout the day, and I guess I kind of jinxed myself. I still think he was, but kind of jinxed myself. But super good games. Played green purple burn in round 2, just as Matt feared, and it was a really good matchup. I ended up 2-0ing them on the draw. We were playing with some cool item removal tech that was really good at shutting down the enigmatic Inkcaster. Round 3 was green blue, beat them 2-1. Round 4 was I played an Amethyst Amber deck and lost to them. Round 5 was Kiwi 2-0, and then round 6 I played against TFM Dan. And another slightly funny story. I don't know if I'm going to completely out Mo here. But going into the round, I thought I was playing against dogs, mulligan for dogs. And boy, is the dogs matchup a lot harder when they're actually on Blurple.
All right.
So that
the
was
worst
kind
part
of how
about
my
dogs
day
when
was
they
ended.
play Sail on too.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my, this is a terrible mulligan that I kept. But that was essentially my day. Played against 2 Mickey winners, lost to them both. But I still believe in blue steel. I think it's a powerful deck, and sadly, it's just not as powerful as purple.
To explain that, I feel like it's necessary to mention we got to the Airbnb on Thursday. I begged these Blue Steel players to practice into dogs because I was like, it could be different. Like, dog players are ready for what you've got. Let me play because I feel pretty good into it. And then when we saw he was paired up against Dan, I was making a joke. I didn't actually know what he was on, but we just assumed dogs. And so I was like, you better beat dogs. Yeah. Well, at least you didn't lose to dogs.
It's true. It's true. I do think the deck was strong into dogs because when I played at the set champs, I did 2-0 both my dogs opponents, and they were both pretty good players. So I wasn't afraid of that matchup at all.
Yeah,
so I stand by the pick.
I think like everybody. I mean, we all knew that dogs was going to be around the 10% mark, but God did just like the entire community, just like as a whole, say I don't want to lose to that deck anymore. And basically, like the item hate across the board was just like completely ready for dogs. So, it was interesting. Yeah, but I guess I'll go into my story since well, Hayden, you haven't talked yet. What do you give us your overview of your run and your thoughts on the weekend and just your overall about everything after the event?
Yeah, from my perspective, my run was interesting because y'all know I played so many different things this set, and so I kind of got in a situation where I was like lost in the sauce, lost in the weeds, where I didn't know what I wanted to play. And I tried so many different things, and I tried these new strategies that I thought had potential and were like risks, and I ended up giving up on them, which I think in hindsight, what I should have done is just continued playing Amber Amethyst after Zan won the CCS and just like played the mid-range version that I liked and like made that better. But I didn't. I started playing Red Steel for like a week and a half, and I really had fun doing that. So I don't really regret that experimenting at all. I don't regret taking a chance and trying something that I really liked and I thought could be good and that I was having success with. I don't regret trying that, even if it put me in a situation where I didn't necessarily have a deck choice figured out and mastered at the point of the tournament. I'm a type of player where I'm not ever going to stop trying to like break the meta. Like I'm never going to not play the wacky stuff. Like I know that. Like that's what I love about the game. I'm going to be trying to play weird stuff always. So I'm okay with trying different stuff and not getting there. Like I think that's okay. I'm willing to accept that like I tried, I failed, and it's okay. So yeah, I ended up playing that green purple deck that everyone else played, and I really liked it. I showed up and I wasn't sure if I was going to play that or if I was going to play red purple. In the back of my head, I think I always knew that red purple didn't get there in the theory for me, where I still had questions in my head that I never got an answer. And when I'm in that situation, it makes me really uncomfortable because like that's the whole thing I'm trying to do with my preparation is to reduce the amount of questions I need to ask myself during the tournament, basically, where I can just focus on playing the game and I can think ahead and I'm not so like focused on the nitty gritty. I want to have a lot of these questions answered beforehand, but I didn't. And I knew that. And I knew they were so obvious. Some of the questions were very obvious that I should have had them figured out, but I was having so much success with red purple anyway, that that's what I decided to bring. But at the last second, I just ended up going with the green purple deck because I thought it had a lot of tools, and the way Mo told me that the meta was going to shape out, that deck seemed like it had the best matchups into that field, and then the meta shaped out exactly the way he said it. So I think it was a good choice in that regard. I just think I didn't have enough reps into it, and we also had our deck was probably missing something. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, I had a amazing weekend, probably the best DLC I've ever been to. Just getting to like be with everyone and like have such a great time with friends. But
it was easily the best deal. I mean, as crazy as it is, I mean, Mo's won a Golden Mickey at a DLC. I've qualified for Nationals at a DLC. Matt and Devin are both day 2 to DLC. But still, all of that said, I mean, we've made this such a tight knit group that I can't count the amount of times that my abs and my cheeks hurt from laughing so hard.
Yes.
Which ultimately, at the end of the day, like that's what it's about. So
Yes, and so I kind of want to talk about this a little bit longer, if you guys don't mind, because I think it is kind of important. Because you guys know I'm so invested, right? Like, I really, really wanted to do well at this DLC, right? Like, I played a lot of games. I spent a lot of hours playing, which I like playing Lorcana. I don't like want to think of it as just preparation and work and time. Like, I was having fun, sitting here playing Lorcana, practicing, like trying to learn things, getting better, thinking making my deck better over time. Like, I had so much fun doing those things. So I don't regret it, but I also do put a lot of pressure on myself. And there's been so many tournaments that I've been to where, you finally get that last loss and you drop, and then you walk outside the venue and you're like, oh, and it's this defeated feeling. And okay, I ended up dropping at 1-2. So I ended up only dropping with 2 losses, and I'm sort of ashamed to say that because I don't want to be a quitter, Like, I don't want to have that, but I did do that. And like, even now I look at myself and I'm like, wow, Hayden, are you just a quitter? But there's another side of it where, like, I hate losing so much that when I realize I'm not going to be able to win a tournament because just me and the relationship between me and my deck, like, it has nothing to do with what's happened. It's just me and my cards. Like, the relationship I have with my deck isn't there, like, I know that because I've had a great relationships with my decks before. And so I do think there was a chance I could have won 5 or 6 in a row because I've done that before against great players. Like, so I could have done it, but I didn't want to put myself in a position to get another loss and feel worse because I already felt pretty bad. So I just decided to just drop after round 3 with 2 losses and have a good weekend with everybody, not pressure myself, like not put so much pressure and weight on myself so that I felt so defeated, and just acknowledge that, I tried, I had fun. Like, I tried to do something new and make something good, which, like, a lot of people ended up having success with that Amber Amethyst deck. And so I think it was good for me to be able to not be so hard on myself for not a great performance, which I wanted so badly, and I still do.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, like, we've said this a bunch of times too, and everybody goes to DLCs to get different things out of the experience. And so obviously, being as competitive as you are and just like wanting to win, like, I can totally understand that. And obviously the mental aspect of the game is really important too. And so if mentally that's, you don't think you can grind, out 6 more wins in a row, then it's probably worth to just have fun, because that's ultimately where we ended up, and was very rewarding in its own regard at the end of it. So, yeah, I mean, I think overall it was a fun weekend, a good event. Not obviously the performances we all wanted, but there were, like I said, a lot of good memories and a lot of crazy things that happened. And speaking of crazy things, I definitely have a story. I know Mo does. I don't know if do you want to talk about it? We kind of like mentioned this at the beginning. I don't remember where you ended. Do you want to talk about it?
I thought you were talking about Cody. I mean, speaking of crazy things, here's Cody. But
yeah, just showing up.
Cody.
Does Cody have a crazy story? Or is Cody just always a crazy story?
Let me think about it.
Okay, so
let me tell my justice story. I feel like that was just kind of funny and just random. It was like Sunday, we were leaving, and I went to the bathroom really quick, and also everyone left me, so we're good friends here. So when I walked out, no one was there. But in the bathroom, there was a singular guy in there, and I go use the bathroom. I go to wash my hands. He's like 1 sink away, and I got 1 away from him, and my soap dispenser wasn't working. So I was like, okay, I'll just go to the one right next to him. And I was slapping on the soap dispenser part. And then when I went to that one, I immediately did the same thing. So I was like, none of these shitters work, Immediately slapped it. Soap went all over me. I said, yeah, that kind of sums up this weekend. And the guy was just like, I guess just trying to make small talk, went, well, how'd you do this weekend? I said, terrible. How'd you do? And he went, oh, I went, I don't know, like 6-2 or something, or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And I was like, who are you? And he's just like, I'm Justice. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I played Brainiac. And I just started telling him, I was like, I played Brainiac in Milwaukee, and I forget everything else he just said to me. I was like, what a funny time to like bump into that guy. And I'm telling you, me and him only once in that bathroom. Very weird experience for a DLC.
I mean, yeah, honestly, that's the one place where the men's line is always longer than the women's line at the restroom. But Mo, do you want to tell? Like I said, I couldn't remember your answer if you wanted to talk about it or if you didn't want to talk about it or if you just want me to tell my story.
Yeah, I mean, so my run was less than spectacular. 2-2-1. I dropped out without fighting for the Mulan just because I wasn't feeling it after how everything ended up. Um, my first loss was to a crazy run out, which was triple Daisy Duck into Tiana, into Chromacon, turned them all sideways at the same time for 8. And I'm like, you're only at 8. But the odds of me being able to play this game out are not great. So we'll just call this. And that was round 1. So I was like, well, that's not a great way to start. Fought back against some Blurple decks. Took another loss to Purple Steel in a game that we were kind of alluding to where we're just drawing and drawing and drawing for the answer. And maybe if the deck was 10 cards slimmer, we would have got there. But my last round I played at the event, and if y'all listen to Zan's podcast, Club Lorcana, you probably already heard a little bit about this, but I was playing against Ryan from the podcast. It was a great set. We're having some great games, just having a lot of fun back and forth and just a good time. It was fun to meet someone in the X2 bracket. like, oh, cool. Well, hey, buddy. But it unfortunately had a bad ending for us both. And we were playing it out into turns. A table judge came and sat beside us before the clock ended. We didn't have a clock to look at the entirety of the games. I think I could have definitely been tracking time with my phone, but I wasn't too concerned about it because I hadn't entered time with my other rounds or anything. So it didn't come to mind. But we were in turns, and it was starting to steadily become this game was going to have no winner, and there's a judge sitting right next to us. No one asked for concessions or nothing like that, but we were playing it out, and obviously a draw at this point knocks us both out of the games. Turn 5, I board wipe him, and I'm sitting on 5 lore on board, 4 lore on my pad, but I had basically a 2-turn clock, and we ended up being a draw because neither one of us could win. And we were discussing who we thought might have been the winner of that game because, like I said, a draw at this point is terrible for both of us. So there's a solid chance that if we had the time to discuss it, a concession would be had among one side. He was very confident that he had the win, and I was very confident that I had the win. I don't know his exact hand or game state, but I know I had another Prince Philip combo in hand and a wrong lever with a woodchuck guidebook. I believe those were my 4 cards I had. And so I felt very confident that I had the game won from there because I had a board wipe. I had a ton of lore that I was just going to chunk out and quest for. And we were kind of discussing, I was making my point. And during all this, the judge said we were discussing if a concession could even still be had, and the judge said, you picked up your cards, this game is over, I see this as a draw. And it knocked both of us out of the event just like that, and it was a rough way to go. Once again, very friendly guy, very good set of games. I felt comfortable that I had the win, and I know he felt the same on his side. I don't blame him at all for not conceding. I wish we had the time to talk it over. And I don't blame the judge either. I'm sure that is the right protocol and the right way for things to go down. It was unfortunate. A lot of hours put into work on that deck, and seeing it go out so unceremoniously in a game that I felt like I had. And it was a rough time, but we picked it back up and we had a good weekend, boys. We had a good weekend, I gotta say. It was just a fun time had by all. No golden Mickeys had to be one to have that fun time either.
That's true. Yeah, it's a very interesting scenario, and I do have a question posed for everybody at the end of this little monologue here. But yeah, especially after listening to their podcast today and getting a little bit more in depth at the thought of their mindset. Obviously, like no concession was made, and I think the reason behind it was both of them felt that they had the very clear line to victory. They said on their podcast, I think that they said it, they felt like they had like a 75 to 80% chance of winning the game after their last turn. And I finished that round really early. And I remember going and watching like the last 2 turns of game 2 of Mo's game and all of game 3. And like Mo said, he had like 2 more Monstro answers in hand and like enough lore to like just really put the pressure on. And so from my, again, am I biased? Absolutely. But have I put like Mo and I sat down, I think 2 weeks before the event. So not like last week, but the week before last. And what was it, Mo? Like we played, I think it was 13 games where you were piloting Monstro combo and I was piloting our deck. And then I was piloting Monstro combo and you were piloting our deck. And I think the Monstro combo like won 2 games of that like entire 13 that we played. Yeah. And so obviously like they were on a different list, they had updated it and made some changes, and Mowgli definitely helps out, I think, in a lot of those combo decks. And there were, a couple of the things that I think just give you a little bit more play into some of these more late game sweeper stuff. But ultimately at the end of the day, both sides felt like they had the clear shot to victory. And so nobody conceded. And so it is what it is. But ultimately at the end of the day, I think the question should be, does this like DLC format, does this even make sense at this point? Because I don't know how many ties there were, like non-ID ties day one, but there seemed like there were a lot. Like I remember going down the standings at one point, like we were doing math to make top cut and to make day 2 and everything. And there were so many like one draw people in the standings that I was just dumbfounded, to be honest. I don't know if it was the meta. I don't know if it was just a bunch of blue-green and a bunch of blurple in the room. But there was a ton.
That's why I ended my runs, because I lost round 1 and then I drew against a purple steel player and we were going to draw. And I was just like, well, this is really bad. So I was going to talk to him about it. And he immediately just shut me down and said, no, I'll take it. Like I'd rather have the draw than like figure something out.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, all right, well, that's great. And then I just like, all right, well, I guess my run's done.
Yeah, I mean, so I forgot Cody drew 2. So Cody drew 1, Mo drew 1, and I drew 1.
Round 2, when we already lost the match, both of us.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Again, like I've never drawn a game in the past 18 months. I think genuinely the only game I've ever like truly drawn is against teammate Kristen, and like the second set chance I'd ever played. And so like that's it. Like I've never drawn. Like I consider myself a relatively quick player. And
well, I don't think we were playing against a great deck for people to play fast into.
No, and I agree. Yeah, so maybe that was some of it, but ultimately, whatever the case was, whatever the end up result of like getting to all these draws were, I don't know. But ultimately, the question should be posed of, Mo went 0-2, 0-2 to day 2 at Worlds, as we all say, and so theoretically, there's a world where your X11 ending the day, or X2-1 or whatever ending the day, and you could like go on a tear and still like get a Simba, or maybe like somehow get into top cut, or I don't know, whatever the case might be. But it just feels like it is a loss. Like when you take a draw day 1 of a DLC with the current structure, like it essentially is a loss. And so it hasn't really affected us, like very directly or closely up until this point. But seeing how directly closely it did affect us this time, plus just seeing how many there were in general, like I don't know. I mean, I'm like asking like, hey, should they reconsider this? I don't know. But to me, it just seems like this is a big burden on the overall structure of the tournament, of you not getting to day 2 if you don't have 18 points, and a tie ultimately just being a loss then. So yeah, I'll stop my monologue, and whoever wants to go can go. But I have a very strong opinion, I guess, now on how this should be handled, because it just seems like it's ultimately a big tarnish on your record when it shouldn't be.
I, for one, miss best of twos.
Okay, I wasn't trying to go there with it, but I mean, I know Matt feels the same way. So
Ugh.
At least it felt like it went smoother.
yeah, I mean, everything ran relatively well. I'll say that. Oh, until I get to my stories, I have a couple good stories too. Forgot I had 2 of them. I forgot another one.
Yeah, you probably have the wackiest part of just like random things happening.
Yeah. So any other thoughts though on like how to, because I do like the idea of like slimming down the player field for day 2, just because it makes, again, like day 2 is like a massively long day, right? There's 4 Swiss rounds. And then if you're, going on a really long run in the playoffs, it's, 3 or 4 really long playoff runs there as well. And so like, it makes sense to try to slim it down a little bit, but I don't know, maybe it's just too many points. Maybe you should only have to have 5 wins to make day 2, or 15 points, I guess is a better way to put it. But yeah, I think they need to like better something for next season.
What does that change?
Just people that like go X2-1 and then go on a tear day 2.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's still 12 rounds, the result is still the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're out of the tournament with 3 losses.
Still out of the tournament with 3 losses.
But you could get a Simba.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
that's a good point.
I mean, I guess some people would play it out, but me personally, I don't really care. Unless if I can make day like top cut, I would just probably drop.
I'm someone who notoriously turns it on whenever like the pressure's up, the day 2 triggers, like, and I have limped across the finish line in a couple of my good performances to get in. So I'm all for giving people more chances and more shots. I understand though the tournament structure is a little bit weird. I really do miss best of 2, and that can be a podcast episode for the future to explain it. Give me some time to get my thoughts. Hold your pitchforks. Give me some time to get my thoughts like compiled well. But
yeah, I mean, I don't want to go down a spiral on that one, but I mean,
I'm gonna grab my
I'd
sword.
do best of 2s again.
I'm gonna grab my sword. Devin, you don't have to raise your hand.
Yes, Devin.
I want to go down the spiral. I miss best of 2. My opinion's biased because I did better on it.
Oh my god! Yeah, I mean, granted, I did too. Hayden now. Okay, we're a bunch of hand raisers.
The only time
yes,
I hated
Hayden?
best of 2 was Continentals.
Hey, Cody, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, you didn't raise your hand, Cody.
I did.
It's Hayden's turn.
I did raise my hand.
Okay, hot take. This is going to be a weird hot take, but I think if you have a side deck, it reduces a lot of these draws also. Like even adding 5 minutes to side twice in a match, the cards are better in each player's decks post siding, and it just like makes it faster and cleaner, I think.
Yeah.
I
think side decks would be great.
Yeah, I think if we don't have, I mean, I think actually 3-game format with side deck would be superior to best of 2.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I feel like it's just going to make games take longer, only in the sense of, like, there's just more going on. But Arcana is just such a grindy game that, like, a lot of the ways that these decks are built, if you aren't just playing the overly aggressive deck that, like, is either winning or determining their loss, really quickly, like, decks just grind so hard. I mean, how many of us have had a game where we remember winning just from some, like, crazy play lines we have in top decks at the very end, but it's like it could have been anyone's game,
Yeah,
I feel like it's just like a Lorcana thing, because I feel like I've never had issue with any other card game besides this one about like draws or going to time is like such a major factor to consider.
Exactly, and what do we not have, Cody, that most other card games have?
I'm all for side decks. I'm not saying we shouldn't have those. I think we should have had those from day one. I'm just saying that like if the game is already so grindy and like people draw all the time, I feel like side decks probably is only going to add on a little bit of time on, then take away.
No, because I think you get to play there's so many good cards in Lorcana that you don't get to play because they're not great into everything.
Sure, but your opponent gets to do the same thing.
Devin?
Yeah, I know, exactly. Both players have more powerful cards.
Shut up.
Wait, what? Okay. Both players have more powerful cards in their deck.
Yeah.
I was going to let Hayden finish his thought.
No.
But it sounds like we only have time for 2 games. So
we're on target, guys.
I think 2-game format with your ink pairing revealed is the best form. Like,
That's-
if
Yes,
your side
I
deck would
always
take a
wanted
long
that.
time. I agree with Hayden. If we could play like an hour, like hour 5-minute long sets, I think a side deck would be the best way. But logistically, with it already taking 2 hours every round, anyways, that could be difficult. I think best of 2 with ink pairings revealed at the start of gameplay would be really great.
I think you should just reveal ink pairings no matter what. Yeah, that's one thing I do love about not to bring up Riftbound. I'm sorry, Zach, close your ears. I do like how you when you sit down, you kind of know what you're like getting into. Like you can set a mindset, you know.
Ooh, it's a tasty
Ah,
faithful.
no, get away from yours.
Oh, we lost. Oh, dang it, we lost Cody.
Oh, dang.
No, I have to.
What?
And I'm like using it.
Okay, so not to like hog all the time because I definitely don't want to, but I had like a crazy day. So, again, I really do think this DLC ran incredibly smoothly. I think it's one of the better ones that we've been to. I think the venue itself had incredibly terrible cell reception in the main hall. Like if you took 2 steps outside the main hall into the hallway, I had really good reception, and so like really wasn't that big of a deal. That being said, round 1, I played a dogs match. It was against a minor, and so he was given, like the accessibility permissions with it to sit next to his dad. And so like I got pulled off of my normal table and went and sat off to the side. I won the round. I go submit the results, like everything's fine, don't have any issues. And then when I go to round 2, I can't find my pairings on my phone, and I assume it's just an issue, and a normal like just not being able to connect issue like it was because you were in the hall. And so my last name starts with a B, so I'm like in the far corner, like far back of the corner of the venue where the B's are. I go over there, my name's not on the list. I'm like, okay, that's odd. So then I go to the judges table, and they're like, you're not in the event. And so I don't know if I got dropped because like I wasn't at my table that I was originally like supposed to be at, because I moved to go sit with like off to the side with the father and his son. Because it was weird because they weren't dropped and they were still in it. But that being said, I was at the judges table, like trying to get all this figured out. And there was probably 10 more people there that had happened to. And so I don't I don't have any idea what happened. All I know is they took like these 10 to 12 people and they were like, you guys are playing each other.
That's an interesting theory. I wonder if those other people were at the accessibility table, because I heard from somewhere that like, oh, it was someone I sat next to, like, or I don't know. I just remember it was someone like next to me somewhere, but they were like, oh, my opponent never showed up, and then when he called the judges over, they went, oh no, you have an accessibility person and that they're over here. So like,
yeah,
he's like, oh, I was just sitting at my table just waiting for my opponent. I thought they were like a no-show. So then he got up and moved over there. So obviously there was like something going on where like some people were getting the main table numbers but not getting these additional ones. And I feel like that was a new thing, right? I feel like I've never had that being an issue before, because I've played against people who had that happen, but they just had like some crazy number that like wasn't a part of like the original seating. It'd be like if we have like, I don't know what, like if we had 600 tables, my table number would be like 980. So I knew like, oh, it's like not part of the regular ones,
Yeah, and that's what they were doing too. And so yeah, again, I don't know. I think there were people up there that also said that they were part of the accessibility tables, and that's potentially why.
I bet you that's why.
And so yeah, ultimately, I don't need to go on and on about it, because we submitted our paper results and then started round 3. I was back in it. I had my correct record. Everything seemed fine. It was all good to go. And so again, like I don't know what happened. It was very strange. They handled it perfectly though, so I can't complain about any of it. But yeah, all green, all good. But just a fun little like crazy story, because I remember like walking up to everybody after round 2. I was like, hey guys, I'm dropped from the tournament. And everybody was like, what are you talking about?
You kept saying that and it annoyed the crap out of me. I'm like,
well,
so are you still playing? And you're like, yeah, I played my match. Oh, but you're not in the tournament? And you're like, nope. And I was like, what are you trying to say, Zach?
At the time, they didn't have an answer for me. Like after I finished the round, I said, is this going to be fixed by the next round? And their answer was, we hope so.
And they were right. Good job.
Yeah, and so it was, but it was fixed after I had all those conversations. And so I don't know. I thought it was funny, but anyways, last big topic I have, which It's never fun to talk about, but I feel like it has to be addressed because it just continuously happens, is the funnel cheaters that continuously pop up on top tables and winning prizes. And so the first one is, I don't remember what round it was. I think it was like round 4, 5, or 6, somewhere like mid slash
match.
No, the one on stream. So there was a guy on stream that was playing dogs. He got spooky sighted, and so like everything on his board obviously is, or not obviously, but is more than likely than not less than 3, and so it all gets in the inkwell. And as he was doing this, he had like 2 cards that were off to the side. One was clearly his hand, and one was like an ink that was not with like the rest of the piles. And as he was putting his cards from the board into his inkwell, those 2 cards that were off to the side, one being his ink, one being his 1 card hand, got kind of combined together. And rather than like being like, oh crap, not both of these are my hand, he kind of just tried to play it off, and it was on stream, which is very strange that you would just try to get away with it. Anyways, long story short on this one, he did get DQ'd from the tournament, and his opponent did end up making top cut, and so that one was very I guess, positive ending to it. But that being said, I do have an even crazier story that I was very much involved with. So round 5, or round 6, I think it was, because I was 5-1 at the time. So round 6, I'm playing my game, and there are 2 people next to me, and they're playing the green purple items deck. So the burn items, aggro, and Blurple. And
is that what we call it? Green purple items?
I don't know. That's what I call it. But I mean, I guess green purple burn is the more consensus term for it. But anyways, so they were playing
8 items.
I think it's more than that. Is it just 8? I guess it is just 8, isn't it? I've seen lists play the Emerald Chromacon too. That I think those are. Yeah. Anyways, let's get back in it. So green purple burn, whatever. Cody, you were the one that got me off topic. So.
Back on track, buddy.
So game again, I'm like, I don't see initially what happens, and so I don't have like a conclusion of who's in the right and who's in the wrong here. But the game 2 conclusion ends like this. So the green purple burn deck plays gathering knowledge and wisdom, gathering knowledge and wisdom, gathering knowledge and wisdom for a total of 6 lore to quote unquote end the game. And so both people start scooping up their decks, and they're like, oh man, that's a crazy ending, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And about this time, I hear the Blurple player who's sitting next to me say, wait a second, I win that game. And the green purple player that was sitting across from me says, no, I played 3 gathering knowledge. That gets me to 20. I won the game. And the purple player says, no, you played 2 gathering knowledge and a show me more, which the show me more is both people draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
So the keynote of this is that the Blurple player had game on board for next turn. And so both of them said the game was over because it was ending one way or another that turn. And they had a misunderstanding of who was the person that did win the game, because they both had differing recollections of how that game ended. And so a judge is called. They both tell their sides of the story. I don't know if it's like a Freudian slip thing or if it's like truly what happened, but the green purple burn player continuously said during their like testimony to the judge that I played 3 show me more, not 3 gathering knowledge and wisdom. He continuously said I played 3 show me more. I get the lore to win the game. And his opponent had to keep correcting him and saying, no, you said you played 3 gathering knowledge. That's not even the right card.
That's the
you
funniest
don't even know what
thing,
you played.
for sure.
It's very, very strange.
Opponent, or judge, my opponent's an idiot. Can we just get a DQ here?
So
He's dyslexic.
So I have to say too, so Hayden, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but Hayden is like he sits down at the table, he throws his hood on, he usually has a hat on and is like locked in, focused on the game. And he's forever told me like, you have to do that too, to just like, be like a locked in player and just be like incredibly focused and do all this stuff.
Well, for one, it increases your deductive reasoning abilities by like 40%.
Is that true?
Nah, I made that up. I think L says that in Death Note. No, I'm pretty sure L says that in Death Note, talking about the way he sits.
I was gonna say, like, if that's true, you should have led with that argument a long time ago, and I probably would have done it.
I
but
like it. Try to be
anyways.
like L.
So this is going on for an absorbent amount of time. Like, they went back and forth, just ultimately yelling at each other.
Yeah, they were yapping.
That I won, no, I won, no, I won, no, I won. They did that forever. Finally, judge comes over. Their spiels. Judge walks away to like go talk to the rest of the judges. They keep going. So I'm like locked in, trying to focus, because it's just incredibly hard when they're just sitting there yapping nonstop. Anyways,
You said yapping.
the end of it basically comes, the judge comes back and says, this is like an unrecoverable game state. We can't obviously decide what happened here, and there's no way to basically recreate it, because again, both people at the end of that game took their decks, took their ink, took their cards, and all started shuffling. And so there was no way to be like, hey, here's the cards that are in my discard pile. There's 3 gathering knowledge, or no, there's not, or whatever the case might be, because all the game state was ruined. So anyways, it was basically like game 2 is nullified. This is no longer a 3-game set. You're only going to play 2 games. So that game didn't even count for anything. So now it gets even worse, because green purple player says, you need to concede to me, because we already had the tie conversation on a tie on day 1.
He won game 2. That's important.
No, that was game 2.
Oh, you already said it?
Yeah, so game 1, he won. Game 2, it got nullified. So going into game 3, the best outcome for the Blurple player could have been a draw, because there's no 3 games to decide it. It's only a 2-game series at that point. And so green purple item, or green purple burn / items, whatever. I said it again. Basically says, you need to concede to me. There's no benefit for you playing. Hayden, are you raising your hand?
Yes.
Go.
I was just wondering if, now that we have lore guides or whatever, do we have like a way to track like warnings and things for players?
They do that, I know for sure, because
they keep history.
I had a judge calling me too. I accidentally drew. It's crazy enough, I didn't even remember this. Crazy enough, it was during this, when this was happening, we were mulliganing for our second game, and I mulliganed all 7, and I accidentally drew 8, and I didn't realize it until the start of my second turn. And so I know with 100% certainty it was because I was so flustered with everything going on next to me. Anyways, all that said, I knew before this, but when that happened, they said, this is going to be a warning. This time it's your first offense. If this happens again, then we'll go into like, I don't know, like the pool of like decision on like if this is like, you know, an ongoing issue, or if this, you know, depending on like, I don't know, I guess if they thought it was malicious or not, they were going to decide from there. And they said if it happens 3 times, then you're out for sure. So anyways, I know they keep track of it, and
if you accidentally draw a card 3 times,
that's what they said. Yeah, they said if you're taking, you know, too many extra draws.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically strike 3 or out.
I don't think they do that across tournaments.
No, but they should. That's why
I think they keep. I mean, like, I guess, like, I'm sure they have some sort of record of like.
I think they do keep records.
Stuff.
Yes, I don't.
They wouldn't punish you for having mistakes at a previous tournament.
They should, though.
Eventually, I agree, and ultimately, I want to get to that. Let me finish the story real quick, and we can come back to this, because this is ultimately
this is a part of my question.
Okay,
go ahead. No, just go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, okay, fine, whatever. I'll finish it because it's almost over anyways. So anyways, the whole point of the story, or the ending of this, is the guy's basically saying you should concede, because if we draw, it doesn't help any of us. It's basically a loss, like we already talked about, because of all the stuff with us already all drawing. And the judge is standing here, and he's like, they're all like, you're very much saying things that you're skating the line of and can't be saying. And so he goes on for another 10 minutes, just sitting here ranting and complaining without starting the game. Ultimately, it ended by the judges saying, play the game. That it is what it is. Finish the round. All of this to be said, and this is a final thing, and then we can get to the talk about all of the allegations and what should be handled and all that, like Hayden want to talk about. Said green purple player made top cut, won a golden Mickey, comes out after the fact that he has been banned from Magic for allegations, or has I don't know if it's banned.
I don't think he's like banned, but he's had a lot of issues in Magic. We'll just say that.
Turns out there's a fair amount of issues that have come up from his Magic career. It's also kind of crazy because during their whole altercation, he was the one that like went to both sides of the people playing next to him and said, "Did you see what happened? Like, can you vouch for me on what the ending state of the game was?" And ultimately, like it anyways. So it's just really unfortunate that somebody else that has such a checkered history ends up with such great prizing. But yeah, so ultimately the way I wanted this conversation to end was where Hayden was going on, like, how should this be handled and like what should the long-term repercussions be. And so to answer your like last question that you had, Hayden, like, yes, my understanding is that they do hold some sort of historical like ledger of people that have, you know, checks against them. I don't think those like carry over, if you will. So I don't think if you make a mistake in this DLC and then go to the next DLC, it's not like 3 strikes and you're out. It's like you have a clean slate for that DLC. But I think at some point it's like if you have an issue in Milwaukee and you have an issue in Richmond and you have an issue in Indianapolis and then you go to the LCQs and you have an issue there as well, I think they'll probably eventually be like, hey, this guy is like nonstop issues. And so he's either the most reckless player of all time or there's clearly malice there. And so I think 9 times out of 10, like that's where there's more severity that comes into play versus just those events. But yes, I'll let you go then since you were the one that wanted to finish on this.
Basically what you're saying, I think that's what we need. It should be something that carries over through tournaments. It might not be every type of infraction, but there are definitely some infractions like that where it's an infraction that's like either like, because it wasn't like these players were at table 900, you know, they were at table like 15 or something, right? Like round 6.
Yeah, at this time, I think it was like table 25. I think because I was 5-1, so I think I was on table like 25.
But yeah, among the X1s at least. So they were, you know, in the thick of it, right? Yeah. And so this means a lot. Getting your second loss that are like early is a big deal. So I think when it's a situation like that where it's so egregious from 2 players to where either one person is somebody doesn't know what's going on in the game, or one person is acting with malice and with intent. And that's what I think is the scary part. And when I think I would rather give both players a warning, give both players this infraction where if this type of situation happens again, you will be, maybe it's not immediate, maybe it's not the second time you get DQ'd, but I do think there's like some type of flag you should put on maybe the way the situation happens, or like a head judge could be able to flag this infraction and say, if this happens in a situation similar to this in another tournament, you could have the ability to DQ them. Like at least give them the ability to make a case-by-case basis determination on it by the head judge potentially, because 2 players that playing at that high a level, that should never happen. Honestly, that's never happening to me. I'm being honest.
No, I agree. And again, I think to your point, like if a player has like a ledger or like a history on them, when things like this come up, then it's, well, let's go check their history. You know, do they have a clean slate? Is this their first infraction? You know, are they constant offenders of the type of thing? And that gives you a lot of context into to your point, the intentions behind what's happening, and allows you to make more informed decisions on how to handle that specific, you know, infraction, I guess. But
I mean, I'm sure they already do.
Well, I hope so.
Is there evidence that they don't?
No. I mean, we had, like I said, I think they've said that they kind of have a ledger, but there's no like real transparency behind like what that looks like, what those long-term histories mean, or anything like that.
Yeah, I just think like there are people in the world that in TCGs will take advantage of worse people. Absolutely. If they know they can. And when I've seen it so many times, and I just think you need to be able to, we have to guard against it, or like the worst players and players trying to get better and like trying to, you know, do better. They won't get intimidated by a player who might have more experience than them into giving away a win that they should be theirs because they're getting bullied, basically.
Yeah.
Because they say, I know how to play the game. Listen to me. Because that was me, you know, when I was a younger kid playing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Regionals at 15, and this guy says, no, this is how this interaction happens. Trust me. You know, and what am I going to do? Say, no, I don't believe you. You're lying. Call a judge. Like, that's a hard thing to do, you know, when you're looking at somebody in the face, like to tell them basically, I don't believe you. Yeah. Also, another thing, always appeal.
Yeah.
Every time. If you were rolled against, always appeal.
Yep. I had 3 judge calls this event, which was by far the most. One of them was my fault because I messed up, and I admit that one, and I hate to say it, but it does happen. So I was very diligent from after that. But the other 2, we had this crazy conversation on Friday night about Royal Guard and Scar interactions. And so there were so many times where I was like, this is how this interaction works. Do you agree with this or not? And the times that they said no, I called the judge and I was like, here's what I'm about to do. I want them to be on the same page before this whole thing happens, even though we had take backs, and that's a whole other story. I just wanted it to be very clear, like understanding of what was going to happen and why. So anyways, yeah, very, very crazy stuff. I mean, I just think that there needs to be like I don't know, maybe even it should be public, like make a public record of everybody and all their infractions so that, I don't know, maybe you want to shame some people, maybe you don't. I don't know. But it at least like just gives you insight. And, again, like I'm a very data-driven person and data-driven decision maker. And so just like having those, like data points just does nothing but help the overall transparency of the events and understanding the, I guess, rulings going forward. Yeah, so that was a fun one.
Yes, Devin, the floor.
Oh, Devin has a question.
Any takesy backsies anyone had?
Every round.
Zach.
My
Bro,
favorite.
Zach got the funniest one I saw.
Every round.
That was so funny.
Oh my god. Okay,
So-
I guess I'll I mean, this is a really fast one, so I'll do this one fast. It was the last round, the round that we drew. We had already had a judge called in this one for one of those Royal Guard Scar interactions that I was talking about, and we were running long, and so there's already a judge sitting there, and I'm playing incredibly fast, trying to finish this game 3, and I'm trying to get a Webby Ink trigger to be able to fill up combo next turn. And I'm like, again, very much, I think there's like 4 minutes left in the round. I'm very much under the gun, like trying to get this board wipe, trying to win the game 3 of the set. I do the thing, I quest, or I ink for turn, and then I was like, crap, I can't do that. And so I'm like literally like setting the cards down. My fingers haven't left the card, but I've already done it. And like knowing from previous events, like once you show the card and your opponent can see it, like that's considered an ink. And so like I literally was like, I looked over to the judge who was sitting right next to me, and I was like, can I take it back? And he was like, I don't know.
Yeah, the judge was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
You did it really fast.
Yeah, and so and by this,
It's kind of like how Sky did. I think Sky did that on one of his
Yeah.
games on the finals, right?
yeah, Sky did that in the
He
finals.
inked
Yeah.
something and then immediately went, wait, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and so anyways, I think everybody on the team was watching me at this point because everybody else was done for the day. And so I was literally like, can I take it back? And then I legitimately hear like chuckles behind me. And then the judge, like Cody said, was like, huh? And my opponent was like, yeah, he gets to do that. And so I picked it back up, quested, got my Webby ink for turn, and then passed. But yeah, that was the only take back I had all day.
I do want to bring up something interesting I discovered about the take back policy. Is I mostly agreed with it going into the event. I do think you should play clean, but I think my opponent's always playing best was good. I did notice when you play cards that people don't see every day, like Scar, like just other cards in the deck, people will take back more rampantly against you, and it felt like an indirect nerf to playing off the wall picks, because like people will just like aimlessly play and not really read your cards or not really understand it. And I had to take back nearly every round. I think my purple steel opponent was the only one who did not do a take back against me every round. And it was really funny to watch that. And I'm like, are these cards actually so good, or do people just not know how to read typically?
I think every single one of my opponents read Scar.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, but okay, I'm done ranting. I feel like I hogged the mic way too much this time, so I need somebody else to wrap us up here with any other final thoughts.
Hey, you get to do that whenever you go 5x1, however we want to look at it.
Yeah.
It's a mediocre finish. I don't think that's not like a deserving reward.
Hey, I've got no room to talk. At least not for this one.
Okay, my I have another story. It has nothing to do with Lorcana. It just has fun to do with us. So if you're in the know, my little subtext the last month has been something to do with the Burnt Peanut, the Arc Raider streamer, who is like setting the world on fire right now. He's incredibly popular, and one of the things that he does when he's looting in the game is he's always like, "Ooh, ooh," when he gets good loot or whatever. And so I did that all weekend, and I feel like everybody was
I just
like
got
picking up on
interrupted
that.
and stepped away for just a small second. I know y'all saw me walk away, but why are we talking about Burnt Peanut?
Well, maybe you should pay attention and not, just be a king crab.
This is a Burnt Peanut
imaginary
podcast now.
dog just almost got ran over, and you're saying that that's not important.
I am inclined to be very sorrowful about that, but at the same time, if you were gone for like a half second, is that?
Well, then I realized it was imaginary, so I came back.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. That's where I was going with that.
But yeah, but I'm gonna let you know right now, Zach. As soon as your crash outs start beginning on test day, you know why I put on the projector?
Ooh. But yeah, it was fun weekend. Had tons of fun. Genuinely, like the best group of people I've ever been around. Shout out Daniel. We missed you this weekend, but everybody else was great, and we had a blasty blast for sure.
It was a good time.
Hayden and Devin. Come on, Hayden. There we go.
I can't find it. Oh,
Here, I'll do it with you, Devin.
That was
Devin,
clean.
do me.
No,
you don't have a camera on.
They did it perfectly.
My hand's up. Do you believe? Here, I'll do it with Matthew.
You can't do it with him either.
Yeah. Oh, he did it. I did it too.
For those listening, not watching the audio podcast or not watching the video podcast, Hayden and Devin did the like Taylor Swift heart like on their cameras next to each other. Yeah, she's the one that started it. I feel like she started it. I feel like she did. Yeah.
Do I have to pay a royalty now?
Yes.
We probably shouldn't bring that up because I feel like she's a titan of industry and probably would force us to do that. But anyways, great weekend. Awesome times ahead. My NA DLC run for 2026 is now officially complete, which very much sucks. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I'm doing that to hide my tears.
But you get two core.
Hey, that's not true.
Two core
We
DLCs.
don't know what's gonna happen at the end of the year.
Yeah,
they could announce more.
Hopeful. But yeah,
they could announce in Oklahoma City any day now.
DLC, OKC.
I would have said that's never a possibility, but they picked Richmond, Virginia, and Milwaukee.
Isn't Richmond? Hey. Why are we hating on Richmond? I feel like I've known what Richmond is. Is that like obscure?
No, I don't know. It's just like nothing. It's like not Vegas or.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't.
Like it was
I don't
last
have
year.
the money to go to Vegas like that.
It's really cheap to go to Vegas, FYI. But anyways, I heard so many people from EU and like read so many tweets about people being like, yeah, I really want to go to the NA DLCs, but I've heard from people in the States that like Richmond, Virginia is not the tourist capital of North America. So there's no point in me going and spending all that money because it wasn't like Italy where we went to Italy and it was like, crap, we're in Italy. Like there's so many things to do here. It's like you're coming and you're in Richmond, Virginia, which again, if you live.
There were some places I tried to show you. You yelled at me, but I tried to show you.
If you live in Richmond, this is not a diss at you by any means. It's more just a diss of like being a it's just not an event to be like a destination spot.
And have no personality.
Yep, I said that. Better late than never. Shout out Matified Custom Playmats. If you want a custom playmat, get in the link to the description. Mo's Matified guide is still down there. He's gonna have to update it for set 11 here pretty soon.
He's more than just his gameplay. He also has
cards. We need cards.
TCG player affiliate link is down below as well. Shout out Devin and Matt, the Blue Steel Bros.
They both are just.
All right.
Aiden, I should have just brought Red Steel. That was a known thing he said. I got round 4.
That was a lie, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I was joking, but I said that.
Shout out to the 2 people who let Mo sign Pegasus.
thought there was more than that.
DLC
There was
promo.
I got to sign I think 3 total DLC Pegasus, and that
Shout
was
out to the
awesome.
3 people who did that. Is there anything else we can shout out?
Mm,
Shout out Diablo for making a reoccurrence in DLC Indianapolis. That's a
Yep.
future.
Oh, I see.
it took Mo a second to figure that one out.
I was like, wait, what? I didn't see a Diablo this weekend.
Anything else cool happen?
Not that I can think
Oh,
of.
shout out Attack on Titans, great show.
It was a fantastic time.
Truly.
Shout out. Oh, this is one from Matthew. Shout out, Incrustables. He
Very,
literally
very
stole
good.
JDZ's act by us buying a 10-pack, and I saw him eat one every 10 minutes.
Yeah, they were so good.
All right, we're now I looked at the timer when I was like quote unquote done, and it was an hour and 3 minutes in. We're now an hour and 10
Shout out
minutes in.
time, keeping us on track.
We've rambled for 7 minutes now, so it's it. We're done. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for supporting. Appreciate everybody, and we will catch you all next time. Bye bye.